Hey everyone, I had an idea today. Rather than taking other people's words and creating memes and other content with them, I'm going to read to you. I have a bunch of things called daily readers and other books that are pretty inspirational. So I'm going to read a small section to you more days than not. And let's see how it goes. Just give me some feedback. I'd love to hear it. So the first book I'm going to read to you from is a book by a lady named Melody Beattie, who is the codependence queen, or at least the queen of writing about this stuff and learning from her experiences. Now, a lot of these books do deal with codependence and people pleasing and addiction and recovery. If you hear words about addiction and it's not about you, don't worry, because the principles of living your life day to day are pretty much the same. So the first book is called The Language of Letting Go. And I'm going to read to you the reading from September 18th, which is today. And it's called Letting the Good Stuff Happen. I want the second half of my life to be as good as the first half was miserable. Sometimes I'm afraid it won't be. Sometimes I'm afraid it might be. The good stuff can scare us. Change, even good change, can be frightening. In some ways, good changes can be more frightening than the hard times. The past, particularly before recovery, may have become comfortably familiar. We knew what to expect in our relationships. They were predictable. They were repeats of the same pattern, the same behaviors, the same pain, over and over again. They may not have been what we wanted, but we knew what was going to happen. This is not so when we change patterns. We may have been fairly good at predicting events in most areas of our life. Relationships would be painful. We'd be deprived. Each year would be almost a repeat of the last. Sometimes it got a little worse, sometimes a little better, but the change wasn't drastic. Not until the moment when we began recovery. Then things changed. And the further we progress in this miraculous program, the more we and our circumstances change. We begin to explore uncharted territory. Things get good. They do get better all the time. We begin to become successful in love, in work, in life. One day at a time, the good stuff begins to happen and the misery dissipates. We no longer want to be a victim of life. We've learned to avoid unnecessary crisis and trauma. Life gets good. How do I handle the good stuff? Asked one woman. It's harder and more foreign than the pain and the tragedy. The same way we handled the difficult and the painful experiences, I replied, one day at a time. So when they're talking about recovery here, they're talking about it in the sense of family members of those who struggle with any kind of addiction or mental health issue. And we, as the bystanders, we're not just bystanders, we are deeply affected by what happens with our loved ones, whether it's about recovery or addiction or not. This could just be on a daily basis. We have certain patterns in our relationships that keep repeating and repeating, and certain behaviors that go over and over and over again. So our work is to learn what's our responsibility and what's not. Where do we step in? Where do we not? How do we detach when what other people are doing is difficult for us? So that is about The Language of Letting Go by Melody Beattie. And we talk a lot about letting go in parenting, and how do we do that when we care so darn much that it feels scary to let go. It feels scary to detach. And the thing is, sometimes, very often, good things can happen. And I know for me, I remember we would be going through some really rough times, and then things would settle down for a little while, especially with one of our kids. And it would be going well for a few days or a week. And then we go, this can't last. When is the next shoe going to drop? And inevitably it did, but we did not have the skills back then. So this is what it's all about. This is what I try to teach in my coaching programs as well, how to love our children, sometimes at a little bit more of a distance, how to connect with our partners, our spouses, and have more meaningful and satisfying relationships with everybody. So Hope that was good for you today. I'd love to hear your feedback and any thoughts that it brings up for you. I'll be back with something for tomorrow, September 19th. Bye.